What's up, you guys? This is Ninjaxtx, and welcome to the fifth video in my fifth round of philosophy videos. Today, let's talk about why the black community or minority communities are so mistrusting of the medical community, so mistrusting of physicians. And I'm going to approach it from a historical point of view, and then I'm going to take it from a point of view of my own life. And then I'm going to give you my views on what's going on right now with the COVID situation in the black community. And no, let me say this before I get a lot of flack for this. I am not the be all end all spokesperson for the black community. I'm not. I'm just approaching it from my point of view and how I see it, how other people around me have seen it, and how it's affected people around me. Okay, so in the 1940s to the 50s, I think. Now, and before I say this, let me have you guys look this up. And yeah, I'm giving you guys homework. And again, this is a parental guidance suggested video. So please, parents, use this video to guide your daughter, son, grandson, nephew, niece, when you're teaching them about these things. Alright, I want you guys to look up the Tuskegee experiment. Now, this was an experiment where there was an outbreak of tuberculosis, a vast outbreak of tuberculosis. And people volunteered for the vaccine, but they were knowingly by the medical community given the disease instead of the cure, because they wanted to see how it affected the African American community, and they wanted to basically create how can I put this delicately? They wanted to wipe a large amount of the African American community out. What better way to do that than to give the black members of the black community the disease? If you doubt what I'm saying, HBO did a movie about this years ago. It's called Mrs. Evers' Boys, based on a true story. Mrs. Evers was a nurse, a black nurse, and she took care of the men that got the supposed vaccine, but it wasn't the vaccine, it was the disease. And I believe it was like 20, 30 years later, this was discovered, and she had to testify to Congress. And then the papers from the government were actually unsealed to um, corroborate her story. And sadly, it was corroborated by many of the doctors that were the doctors and the scientists that were part of that experiment. Once again, that's the Tuskegee experiment. Look it up. Okay, now that being said, when you have a situation where you've been the guinea pig before, and people now know that, how apt are they to go? How apt are they to go to physicians? How apt are they to tell the physicians when something's wrong? Um, but we have to overcome that stigma because we're being killed every day. Whether it be by just our own stubbornness by not going to the doctor, or it be by bias of the medical community that is affecting us. I'll give you guys a prime example. A couple months ago, saw a news story. Read it in the paper. I saw it on the news. There was a lady, a nurse now, that got COVID. She did not go to the hospital where she worked. She went to the hospital that was closest in her community. Now, they put her on the gurney. And she kept telling the physicians that walked by her, I need help. Something is wrong with me. And they ignored her. They ignored her. By the time somebody actually got to her, they had to put her on a respirator. And from what I remember of the story, I don't think she survived. That's enough. Okay. Would you be apt to go to the doctor after that? No. It, and yes, I say we have to overcome this stigma because we have we have to get medical care. We have to demand proper medical care because it will kill us quicker than any bullet if we don't get the proper medical care. If we don't get the proper medical care, diseases that are rampant in our community will eradicate us. Okay. Well, a lot of people say, well, why don't you just go to the doctor? A lot of places in the black community do not have proper medical care. We don't have it. But If you go to a white suburb, they have it, but a lot of people in the black community don't have don't have don't have the economic standing to get to proper medical care. A lot of us, a lot, a disproportionate amount of us still live below the poverty line. Why? That if we can't get the proper medical care and the proper medical care will not come to us, we have no other choice than to keep going and to push our medical problems down until they become too much for us to deal with. All right, taking it from my personal life. Okay, with my disability, with my physical challenges, heart conditions are very, very prevalent in people that have CP. Plus, heart disease is the number one killer of black men. Heart disease is the number one killer of black women. We also have hypertension and several other things that. Now, in my case, I have hypertension, which is high blood pressure. I keep it under control by doing the herbal remedies and the little, taking a little pill every day from the doctor. Did I fight it? Yes, because I didn't want to give in to the stereotype of being having high blood pressure. I myself have what's called white coat syndrome. That is when your blood pressure is checked by someone in the medical community. Because they've harped on it so much, yes, you're stressed out. Yes, it your blood pressure appears to be high when it's really not. When it's really at its baseline. If people leave me alone and don't stress me out, my blood pressure is perfect. The last week when I checked it, it was 120 over 75. I check it every week. I check it religiously because I don't want to have to deal with heart disease, a spike in hypertension, diabetes, any of that. But the black community has to deal with it. And until we can get the same equal medical care that other communities can have or has, we'll be in the same boat. The same thing with the Latino community. They're in the same boat as us because we cannot access the same medical care as the Caucasian community. We need to have equal medical care. We need to push for that. We need to push for more doctors, more nurses, more we just need to push for more proper medical care. And when we push for that, we need to be We need to be cognizant of what's killing us. We need to be cognizant of how we go after that medical care. We need to be cognizant of how we need to be cognizant of our heredities. We need to be cognizant of what not to eat, what to eat, how to exercise properly. Get in the exercise program. Know your heredity. Know what is out there. Go after what is out there. But until portals are created for us to go, or not portals, avenues are created for us to go and get the proper medical care, we're going to have these things happen. So, to all the black brothers, to all the African American brothers and sisters that are becoming doctors and nurses and experts in the medical field, to all the Latino brothers and sisters that are becoming experts in the medical field, to our Caucasian counterparts that are pushing for us to get proper medical care. Thank you. Keep pushing. Keep going on and on. One day it'll get better. But we have to take it one day at a time. Alright. Thank you guys for watching. Please, if you have a medical issue, please call your physician. Get help. Don't be afraid of the stigmatism, and don't be afraid to say, "Oh, well, I'm too strong. I'm too strong to die. This ain't gonna take me out." Don't do that. Going to the doctor is not a weakness. Knowing when you have to go and going shows strength. And two, to my brothers, I know this is a big, heavy subject. I'm worried about it when I turn 50. But to my brothers, please, when it is time for you to get a colonoscopy, go get that, because prostate cancer is also killing us in a disproportionate amount. So please, go get tested. It doesn't make you less of a man. Come on, y'all. You gotta do this. Alright. Thank you guys for watching. I hope this touched someone's heart. I hope this made someone think about how they may be living life. Peace, take care of yourselves and each other. One world, one love. If you guys have any questions, comments, requests, etc., please send them to my YouTube, or if you know how to get in touch with me on my personal Facebook, my Twitter, my private training group, Black Talent Combatives, or any other form of my social media, please feel free to do so there. Thank you guys for watching. God bless. I will see you guys tomorrow for our next Chairbound Screamer series session. Until then, bye-bye for now.